What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to harvest different kinds of seeds. It's the fall in Missouri. It is November, and we actually have a really pretty fall day. It's about 70 degrees today, so I am barefoot out here in the yard, and we are going to be harvesting 4 different types of seeds. We're going to do the golden Raintree seeds, borage, basil, and then sunflowers. All of these plants and herbs are all medicinal, so it is a great use for them to be able to save them and then have them with you year-round to be able to plant where you want them or use them how you want them. The seeds of the sunflower, in fact, can be used medicinally on their own for colds and coughs. But we are here and we're going to go ahead and get started with the Raintree. So we're going to find a really good seed pod. I think you can see Bear back there being such a good girl. So we're going to find a really good Raintree seed pod. Okay, I've got one right here in my face. So these seed pods, you can see them, are shaped rather beautifully, and inside you're gonna see seeds. So let me show you. We're gonna quickly pull some off of it. Okay, so I pulled them off, and inside you can see the black seeds. So that is what we are looking for. Seed harvesting is super easy, actually. It's just finding the pod itself that holds the seeds and then taking them out. So you can either collect the entire pod like this, or you can, and I actually usually just collect the pod and then take them apart later and pull all the seeds out. I find it easier. Or you can do it right here, and if you look closely, you can see the seeds. So I'm gonna grab a few different pods, and they all still have their seeds in them. A lot have fallen to the ground already, but there's still a lot on the tree. So I like to get them straight from the tree so I know they are pure, really good seeds that are ready for harvest. Now with my Raintree, I'm going to be planting them around the yard. We've wanted some more trees in general on the farm, and so I am going to be planting them in the spring. Actually, you can I'll probably plant them in the early spring where it's still winter, and then they'll bloom on their own, or sprout on their own and grow up nicely. So I've got 4 baskets here from each of my planting that I'm going to do. So I'm going to make sure to put my golden Raintree flowers, or pods, inside this basket, and I can go grab the seeds out of them later. So let me grab a few more of those. Now in general, the golden Raintree can be used for eyes, treatment for conjunctivitis, watery eyes, I think it's called epiphora, something like that, but it's basically crocodile tears, or some people when they sing their eyes water. It's really good. You can use the flowers to treat that, but they are a great eye remedy. Okay, so I've got a few of them. Oh, if you look inside, I've actually got a spider. He didn't like that. Had a spider chilling inside the pod, but I'll show you his little web so you can see. So basically, if you look inside this pod, hopefully you can see this, there is a spider web in there and 4 seeds. So they're black seeds, as I've got this over. So here's 2 of them. They're just black, and each one of those is a seed for a golden Raintree. And the Raintree turns really pretty yellow in the spring. It's gorgeous. Golden, that's why it's called a golden Raintree. It is absolutely gorgeous. So the seed itself looks like that. So now I've got my golden Raintree seeds, so I'll leave that basket there, and let's go to another part of the yard and get some more. I've been harvesting sunflower seeds just a lot randomly throughout the season as it started to get dry and they're ready to go. But I left a lot for you so we could do it together. And I've been harvesting a lot of different plants, but I thought I would keep some different medicinal herbs out for us to do together so I can show you how to do it. Like I said, seed harvesting is super easy, but it's one of those things that unless you know what you're looking for, it's kind of like, the plant's dead, what am I doing here? But it's not. It's the perfect time to harvest. So now we are going to switch to sunflower seeds. I've got my baskets with me. So in general, the sunflower, when you know how to know when it's ready to harvest, it's going to look kind of dead. Looks kind of dead. Looks like it's seen better days. You can see where I've actually harvested some of the seeds out of it already. There's a lot more here. I have a few sunflowers that are ready for harvest. Good seeds in each one. I've been harvesting quite a bit, but I wanted to save this big one for you. Look at all those beautiful, glorious seeds. I'm excited. So we're gonna grab our basket. What I do is I take a basket and I'm going to put it underneath it and then start scraping the seeds out, and they'll fall into the basket. Sunflower seeds have a medicinal quality of their own, along with the other medicinal qualities the sunflower has in the leaves and flowers, the petals themselves. The seeds can be, you can use a decoction. A decoction is similar to an infusion, but you're going to put the seeds inside of boiling water. Well, actually, you're going to put the seeds inside the water, bring it to a boil, then you're going to simmer it for a few hours, and you can use that decoction. Sorry, I was just looking at the bug here. You can use that decoction for colds and flus, colds and coughs. It's fantastic. It also is really good for a malaria treatment. You can use the leaves that way. I've also shown you how to use the crushed leaves for a headache remedy, but sunflowers are fantastic. So my goal is to show you how I'm doing this. I'm going to, let's see, should I set you down? Should I put you with me? I'm not quite sure. Let's figure it out together. So I'm holding, okay, so I'm going to take the sunflower and I'm just going to start scraping it, and the seeds will fall. It is easier with two hands, I will say. Holding my camera is making it a little tricky for me. But you just basically rub on the flour and the seeds will start popping off into your basket like so. So I've got some sunflower seeds in my basket, and they're easy. Sunflower seeds are super easy to harvest. So I'll get more of them later, but I've got quite a few. I'll leave my basket here and let's move on. So the next plant or next seeds I want to harvest, sorry, my hair is just poking me in the eyes here, darn hair. We're gonna do some basil. I love basil. I plant it intermittently in my garden all the time. I plant it between different sorts of plants. It deters lots of pests, and that is super beneficial in the garden. And it actually attracts beneficial insects. So it is a wonder in the garden, and I'd like to put it in a different area. So I have it in we're starting another garden next year, and we're redoing the fencing on this one. So we're expanding quite a bit. And so I'd like to take my basil with me. And I have quite a bit that's ready to harvest the seeds on. So let me show you what it looks like when basil's actually ready to harvest. So when basil's ready to harvest, it's gonna look super dried out, just kind of dead looking, but it's not dead at all. These little pods that you see all have seeds inside. So what I do is I just run my hand up it, kind of scrape it off, and then you'll see, hopefully you can see in my hand, there's a bunch of seed heads inside there. So inside every little pod, you're gonna see tons of seeds. So you just break the pod open, like there's one of the black ones right there on my finger. They're really tiny and black. So let me hold one up for you. When I mean really tiny, they're super tiny. They're very difficult to see, but it's right there in my finger. That is a very tiny basil seed. And so once you see what they look like, if you look at these plants back here, you realize I have a bunch. And Bear loves basil. So she's gonna harvest seeds with me and get the basil out. Aren't you, Bear? Yeah, you're a good duck. You're a good duck. Bear loves basil. So if you look at the plant again, what I did is I just stripped it. Bear, can you chill out for a second? Oh my gosh. Bear loves basil and me. But what I did is I just stripped it off, just like this. Take your finger, run it up the little shoot here, and oh wow, I actually pulled the whole thing off, but you know what? That works. Let's see if I can set you guys down and show you what I'm doing here. Okay, so I've got my seed pods. Bear, watch out. Thank you. I've got my seed pod here. I'm gonna strip it so you can see the whole thing's up here. I'm gonna strip them off one by one. And then inside each one of these, you're gonna find 3 to 4 different seeds. So they're inside the little pieces that I just stripped off. They're really cool, and you can go inside later and dig them all out. So I'm gonna put a bunch of those in my basket. And then another thing I'm gonna do with basil, so if you let these sit, you just keep them in your garden. Next year, they're gonna come back they're basically going to sprout on their own. They're gonna drop them and they're gonna sprout on their own. So that's how it works, and that's how it keeps it going and coming in your garden. But what I wanna do is bring them somewhere else without having to individually plant them. So I'm gonna strip it. It's so funny, every time I go to strip, it just comes right off. It must be the one-handed thing. Let me set you down again. Okay, so hopefully you can see, I've got this. I'm gonna strip it off. Got them all, and I'm literally just gonna scatter them around my garden. Just scatter them. And if you do it that way, then they're going to come up at random different spots, and that's fantastic. It's a lot easier planning. I don't have to do it one by one. I just do it, spread them out now, throw them out like bird seed, and then they're going to come up next year anywhere they want to and feel strong enough to actually poke out of the ground that way. So that's a fantastic way to spread your basil seeds. I'm a huge fan of basil, not just for its medicinal purposes, but for uses in the garden. In general, medicinally, basil lowers blood sugar, it lowers cholesterol. Like I said, it deters pests and things in your garden. Another great thing that basil does, it protects the stomach. It's really good as a stomach protector. And it also is known to relieve joint pain and inflammation. It's a great anti-inflammatory. So basil has lots of different uses. All right, the last one I'm going to show you how to extract the seeds from is borage. And I love borage. Borage is beautiful. One, it turns into a bluish, purplish flower, absolutely gorgeous. And then the flowers and leaves are used medicinally. So I really enjoy using borage, not only for its beauty in the garden, it also deters certain pests and attracts certain helping bugs. But it can also be used medicinally. So the leaves and flowers can be used for fevers, coughs, depression. It's known to help out with all of those things, and you can make lots of different things: tinctures, teas, poultices. You can do a lot with borage, and then it's also known as a blood purifier. So borage is very cool, a very beautiful plant, and a very useful plant. So I'm going to show you how to get some borage out. I meant to show you my sage I had popping up. I had sage that's popping up right now because it thinks it's the spring again because the weather's just been so fantastic. I'm going to show you the sage. I love sage. So I had sage popping up by my basil that was all dried out, and I'm really stoked about it. But it's going to die tomorrow, so I might as well show you today because it's going to freeze overnight. But let me show you. So it's already popped back up. There it is right there. It's so pretty. I love sage. Right by my beautiful basil that I'll finish harvesting later. But yeah, so just a fun day. I don't usually see November weather like this where I'm able to see new herbs popping up. That's usually a very early spring thing, but I was excited to see it today. Now, my borage is going to be hit or miss on if we can harvest it or not because I might have let it wait too long and let the bugs get to it when they hatched again with this beautiful weather that we had. But I thought I would try and see if we can find some. So I'll show you my little borage container, and it's sprouting again too. So it's really nice to see it sprouting. I've got 2 little borage plants coming up again. They're gonna die over the winter, but you know what? I have tons of seeds in this old borage plant. So what I've got, this is a dried out borage plant, and I have a lot of it in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see if I can find some seeds. We're going to do this together. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find any because I might have let it sit too long. But we're going to look together. Bear, you can help me look? Okay, Bear's going to help me look. All right, so I'm going to set you down. Let's see if we can find some borage together. All right, so let's look in here. I've got, what I'm looking for are the flowers because the flowers, when they're dried, they're gonna have seeds in them. Whoops, my hair is getting in my borage. Okay, I think I have found one. All right, so I found some borage. Hopefully you're seeing that. I really can't tell if I'm showing you or not. But it's inside the flower heads. Borage seed is super small as well. Very, very tiny. Oh, I'm not even showing you. But that's borage. It's very tiny. But I did find some, so I'm going to throw them in my borage basket. Again, what you're looking for when you're harvesting seeds is you're looking for that dried flower. And inside the dried flower, so it's got a little pod that it's created, and inside that pod, you're going to find the seeds. Seed harvesting is so much fun. You can do it year round. You don't just have to wait until the freeze happens. They should all die at that time, and then you're going to be able to have awesome dried out seed pods all through the winter. When you're harvesting seeds, do not harvest when they're wet. You want them to be dry. So if it just rained or it's raining, don't harvest seeds. They're going to mold. The most important thing you can do when you're harvesting seeds is keep them dry. Always keep them dry. I've kept seed for years. I have seeds that I've kept for 10 years and replanted this year and gotten things out of it. So seeds aren't going to go bad if you can just keep them dry. Heirlooms are awesome. Always get heirlooms. We have tons of seeds and volunteers that came up on their own at the old farm. And so I'm really hoping to have those here and allow all the beauty to come back up year after year. I'm so excited for it and to start this journey here at this new farm. But keep them dry. How I actually go and store them. So after I pull apart, get them all out of the pods and pull them apart, I'll lay them all on a towel and I'll make sure they're all the way dry, lay them on a towel, keep them all dried out, and then I'll store them in little plastic baggies. Sometimes I use those little you know those little things you get inside of like purses when you buy it, or new shoes? It's that little packet that says like do not eat, discard, you know, little silver crystals. It takes out moisture and keeps moisture out of things. So I'll throw those in with my seeds all the time. I save those randomly. Anytime I get a new bag that it comes in, right, or some shoes or something in there inside, I keep those and I store them with my seeds. So keep your seeds dry. I do the old trick of like keeping it out of the sunlight. I just do that. I do that with most of my medicinals anyways. So I also do that with my seeds. Not sure if it's necessary, but it's an extra precautionary step that I take. But harvest your seeds. Have fun. Go outside. Find seeds that are ready to harvest and keep them. Keep them. You can use them year after year and then you don't have to rebuy seeds. And that is the beauty of harvesting your own seeds, not having to rebuy them year after year. So I'm going to stay out here and keep harvesting because it is beautiful outside, but I hope you've learned something in this video or at least enjoyed watching it. But until next time, good luck and good health.